Hi everyone, coming to you from Altoona, Pennsylvania. So if everything kind of looks different, that's the reason why. I just wanted to make a quick tutorial about the 3x2 tubular bind off. This is a bind off that was created by the author of this pattern. It's really intricate. I've also made a PDF of a written version of it with a picture. So what you'll want to know is that these 5 stitches right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you'll get 2 purls and 3 knits. Keep that in mind while you're doing this bind off. You'll understand why once you read the PDF. Okay, so let's start. You'll want to create a tail at least 4 times the diameter of your work. So one, 2, 3, 4. And I've already cut it off, but that's 4 times the diameter of your work. You'll want to get your darning needle, insert it in, and a quick note, you'll definitely want to do this bind off fairly tight. And I do mean you're going to be tugging really tightly every time when you pull the needle through and out and off. Okay, so let's start with the setup. The setup, you'll want to insert your needle purlwise through the very first stitch. And pull through. And because it's connected to here, you'll want to pull that kind of tight. And then from behind, you're going to bring your yarn behind and put it between the 3rd and 4th stitch. It is the beginning of in between the purl and the knit stitch right here. You're going to go right in between there. Just like that. You're not going to go through any stitches, just right in between, and pull through. Again, tight. Now you're going to insert your needle knitwise through the 4th stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4th stitch knitwise right here, and it goes right in between. And you're going to pull through. And that is the setup. Now this is the next 10 steps. 10, that's right, 10 steps is going to be on repeat until the last 5 stitches, okay? So let's start with the repeat. From the front, you're going to bring your yarn to the front, and you're going to insert your needle knitwise to the 1st and 2nd stitch. Just like you're going to knit these 2 together, okay? 1st and 2nd stitch, now pull through, and then we're going to slip it off. Slip off, pull that kind of tight, and then we're going to insert our needle purlwise to the 1st new stitch. Pull tight. We're going to bring this yarn behind and purl, slip our needle purlwise, just like this, through the 2nd stitch. And we're going to go knitwise through this 3rd stitch. And then we're going to bring our yarn to the front and insert the needle knitwise through the first stitch. And slip off. Pull tight. Now we're going to take the needle and insert it purlwise through the third new stitch. 1, 2, 3. Now we're just going to slip off this next stitch. We're going to tighten that up, and you'll see that there's a little bump here. You can kind of tighten that up, and then now we're going to insert our needle purlwise through the first stitch and slip that off. And now we're back to the beginning where there's 2 purls and 3 knits. We're going to start the process all over again. So we're going to insert our needle, well, I'm sorry, not all over again, but we're going to insert the needle in between the 3rd and 4th stitch, just like that. Pull tight. Insert our needle knitwise through the 4th stitch. Pull tight, bring it to the front, and we're going to go knitwise through the 1st and 2nd needle, as if you're going to knit these 2 together. And we're going to slip off. Pull tight. We're going to purl through the new 1st stitch. Pull tight. We're going to go from behind and purlwise through the 2nd stitch. And we're going to knitwise through the 3rd stitch. I'm going to come back around, going to the 1st stitch. We're going to go knitwise, and pull off. We're going to go purlwise through the 3rd stitch. Now we're going to slip this next stitch off. We're going to go purlwise to the new 1st stitch. And we're going to slip that off. And now we're back to our original, to our 5 again. So I'm going to do this a couple of times just to show you how to do this pretty quickly. Okay, I want to explain a couple of things while I'm doing this. When it comes to binding off, when you have a knit stitch, binding off, you'll always you'll insert your needle purlwise first, and then at the end you'll insert your needle knitwise last, and then you can slip it off. If you've noticed while I'm going around, if you pay real close attention, you'll see that each knit stitch I'm purling first and then knitting into it last. That's when I pull it off. The same thing with purls, it's the opposite. You will knit first you will insert your needle, knit first into a purl, and then you'll finish it off with a purl stitch, and then you slip. That's when you can slip it off. So this is what I mean. We're going to insert our needle in between. This is a purl, and I'm actually going to knit into that first. And I've already purled into this first stitch right here. Before I went in between, I already purled into here. I don't have to do it here since we're knitting these two together. We're inserting our needles together. So essentially we're knitting into this first stitch. And now I can pull it off because I had first purled it, and now I'm knitting it, putting the needle knitwise. I'm now going to purl into this first stitch. And if you remember, after I pulled through into the third and fourth, I knitted into the fourth stitch. Here's the fourth stitch, and I already put in the needle knitwise. I'm about to purl into here, okay, but from the back, because I just purled here. Now I'm gonna purl from the back here. So this guy is already ready to be pulled off. But since we have this guy here, we can't pull it off yet. Now this is the last purl stitch I'm gonna knit into here. And then I'm gonna bring this around and I'm gonna knit into here. I already purled this. I already insert the needle purlwise. Now I'm gonna put it in knitwise, and since it's a knit stitch, that's when I can pull it off. Now we're gonna insert our needle purlwise into, here's our fab 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm purling into here. And this is why we're slipping, because remember I had told you we're already done. We just put in a knit and then we put in a purl. That's why we don't have to insert the needle there. We just pull it off. And now we're gonna purl into this guy. We had already placed a knit stitch in there, and now we're gonna pull it off. And that's the explanation of how all this works. So we're gonna do it again. I'm gonna go all the way to the end until the last 5 stitches, and then I'll show you what to do with that. So now we're coming up to our last 5 stitches. We're coming up to here, so we're going to, and here's 2 extra, we're gonna purl onto that first stitch. We're gonna slip off this next stitch. We're gonna bring that little bump behind. We're going to purl in this next stitch and slip it off. Now we've come to the last 5 stitches. I already put a purl stitch in here, so this is how we're going to do the last 5, okay? So we're gonna insert our needle in between. We're going to knitwise into the 4th stitch, come around. We're gonna knit these 2 together, insert the needle knitwise, and pull it off together, pull tightly. We're going to insert the needle purlwise into the new 1st stitch. We're going to go behind and go purlwise into the 2nd stitch. We're going to go knitwise into this last stitch. We're going to go knitwise into the 1st stitch and pull off. And this is what's new. We're going to go purlwise into the very 1st stitch that we've already bound up, like our very 1st stitch. And how we find that is, remember how I told you there's 5. Here's our last 5, the 2 purls and the 3 knits. We're going to go to this 1st knit right here. And this very top bump on this very 1st row is where we're going to insert our needle purlwise right there. Okay, this is the very 1st row that we already took off, and we're going to go purlwise into that loop. Okay, and we're going to slip off this guy, pull through, and we're going to purl this last stitch. We're gonna take out all these little bumps by just kind of easing it in there. Best thing to do is just kind of pull it apart a little bit, make sure that it goes underneath, and then we tighten it up. And how we bind this off, so here is, if you look, here is our knits, here is the purl, which is where we've got this. On the other side is the purl side. And we're going to insert this right here in this neck. You see that here's this little gap right here. We're going to insert it purlwise through that first little bump right there to kind of close up that gap, just like that. See, now there's no gap, and you're going to bind it off. I mean, you're going to weave in the ends like you normally would. You can kind of just go down, and then go up is fine if that's what you prefer. And just stretch it out a little bit, and then that's it. You cut it off and we're good. There's your bind off. And you can see there's our bind off. And you can see it's very stretchy. It works really well. Even though we were really pulling on it to keep it tight, it's still very stretchy. And there you go.